Well, first of all, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Zdravo, zdravo.
Zdravo.
Hvala for having me.
Always. How are you?
I think I'm tired. I just don't know it yet. And I think that in 3 or 4 hours I will be dead when we will finish our last assignment here. But so far I'm still hyped up about the adrenaline that I got from yesterday's game.
Is your tempo here crazy?
Crazy.
Really?
Crazy. It's, you know better than me. We didn't schedule it until the midnight, and until the midnight we were waiting for some other scheduled interviews to be confirmed. So it's quite.
So actually,
intense.
I'm blessed. You have time.
Don't make it that big, you know.
Let's talk about derby. It's last I don't know game.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Atmosphere, game, everything.
I think that I felt the same way like Zvezda players were feeling, stunned in the beginning of the game. For me, it was hard to concentrate on the game in the first 5 minutes of the game. So well for Zvezda, but I bounced back. I bounced back like Zvezda as well. And you know, it's when you go to Belgrade, you know that it's going to be different. I was in Niš for Radivoja Korać Cup. I think it was in 2021, the first one after the COVID.
Yeah.
5,000 people, both fans are coming, and I was there to cover the game. I didn't watch any basketball that night. I was just watching stands, flares being thrown, you know, some fire, some chants. Because when I was very, very young, I was ultra. So for me, this whole atmosphere is also something special. So
It's similar.
yeah, and now in Stark, it was my first time when I was in Stark for derby game as well. I would say it was a bit different, but it was also like goosebumps coming through my body. All these chants, the pressure, the intensity. I enjoyed that kind of experience. And the game was like, before the game we were talking, what we want from this game? We want close game, potentially game winners, and we don't care who will win. We just need some content material. So we got what we expected, you know, with Alexa making that crazy three-pointer, with the close game, with the interesting scenario of the game. So it was nice.
You mentioned Alexa. Maybe we can talk about players and about coaches. What is your first impressions about coaches? Let's start with that.
I had big impression on both coaches for this game, for brave decisions that they made. It's starting from Yanis Varopoulos. We know that Iago dos Santos was not playing in the EuroLeague. 4 minutes in total before this game. And I see they start slow, and I see Yanis Varopoulos going to the end of the bench and talking to Iago. And I was like, is he just sharing the ideas or the mistakes that Shabazz or Milos did, so for him not to repeat it in the future? Or is he really going to let him go to play? And he was subbed in the 5th minute of the game. The start was rusty for him, but it felt like he was the only guy on Zvezda that didn't have any fear. He didn't care about 20,000 people around, about the pressure, because it feels like Iago dos Santos is in his own world, whatever he does. So I think it was a huge move from Svaropoulos to show big trust in him at a very challenging moment, being down by 10. And Iago delivered 11 points, very important three-pointer in the 4th quarter, 5 assists, 0 turnovers.
And big energy.
Big energy.
That is something crazy, you know? I mean, I noticed that.
Yeah. And I thought that watching him, especially after hitting this three-pointer in the 4th quarter, I was like, Zvezda found their own Alexa Avramovic in Iago dos Santos, the way he changed the game with his energy. So that was my first memory about coaches. And then there's Željko Obradović. 5 minutes until the game, they're down by 10. He puts a lineup with Avramovic, Jaramaz, Dozier, Nanali, and Smailagic. And I checked the stats. He never used that lineup in ABA League or EuroLeague.
Yeah.
And this lineup wins the game. Without Kevin Punter, without Zach Day, without Kaminski, who was great in the first quarter, they won the game with this lineup. So for me, I was like, oh my God, these coaches are
he
crazy.
mentioned that at press, you know. He told us that he doesn't know why did he choose that small players, but they did great job. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw that on court.
I had a meeting this morning, and we were talking with some basketball person, and he said that sometimes I don't understand Željko's rotations, but you know, we see the outcome, we see the result. It's just masterclass of Željko Obradović, probably.
Maybe we can talk about him as the best coach in Europe for sure, but maybe in the world. What do you think about that?
It's hard to do any rankings, especially when we connect NBA and Europe. So I would say we can do the tier lists, you know, with the best coaches, the second level coaches, the third level coaches. So for sure, Željko Obradović is in the first list. I'm just not sure if he's the GOAT or not in the entire world, but for sure he's on the top.
And how do you like Belgrade?
I love it, really. First of all, because of the weather, plus 20. In Vilnius, it was snowing last morning, so come on.
It's enjoying for you.
I don't care about the rain. For me, it's like vacation, you know. So first of all, weather. Then basketball interactions on every corner. I mean, literally, our first two outings, first one to the bar, the second one in the restaurant, were involved with basketball conversations. The first one, a bartender was like, "Oh, your basket news. Oh, who's going to win Zvezda and Partizan? Oh, we don't need this. Tell what you really think." And then in the restaurant, waiter, I was checking Shabazz Napier EuroLeague profile, and the waiter noticed that it was Shabazz Napier. Oh, I hope that guy will miss all the shots. We're gonna destroy Zvezda and stuff like that. So on every corner, we have a basketball conversation. And I travel a lot, and I can see that I don't see that often. Maybe in Greece with taxi drivers who know better than Željko, you know, what to do on the court. But there's nothing that match that love and passion for the game that I see here in Belgrade. Not even in Lithuania, I would say.
People here actually lives for this sport.
Mm.
Yeah, and can you maybe compare that to Lithuanian fans? We know that they are crazy also as our fans.
Not as crazy as your fans.
Really?
No.
Actually, we're better.
You're more crazier because we are more shy. I think it's part of Lithuanians. We're from the north. We're shy. We're a little bit conservative.
And cold a little bit.
It's because of the weather as well. So we don't express ourselves that much as Serbians. And Serbians, they're just crazy about basketball, really.
Yeah, but when some our team plays against Žalgiris, it's fear, you know?
Oh.
We are afraid of your fans.
Of your fans? Okay. Maybe it's different fear, you know? They create the atmosphere in their own way. And it's a good atmosphere in Žalgiris Arena. Really, I really enjoy it. But when you go to Belgrade, you know that you're in a different playground. It's a whole different game. So I think that in that tier list, I would say the Serbian fans are above Lithuanians.
Yeah, and there are some rumors or some maybe true stories about Lithuanians don't like actually Serbs.
I think that this it's just the narrative that was created because of the war, because of the political opinions that were in one country and another, and I think that it kind of triggered both countries, and it created something like this, as you say, rumor that we don't like each other. First of all, this whole we don't like each other thing I think started with basketball when we played in quarterfinals and in semifinals, and we were rivals. 1995 Eurobasket final in Athens. I think that's where this rivalry, real basketball rivalry, has started. And I just think that, and although you mentioned this fear, we were feared of Serbians on a basketball court because we knew that they are good and we might lose. And there were not that many countries that we were fear of. But later on, from that fear, from that rivalry, you build the respect because you notice that outside Lithuania, nobody really cares about basketball. So we feel respect and love to those who love basketball the same as we do. So we in Lithuania, we really like what Serbians do about basketball, what Greeks do about basketball. And yet there was this political situation. But maybe we are living in an era where we are divided. There was COVID, now we had politics, there's war, and both sides are divided. But when people meet each other, we had this conversation with Rokas Giedraitis. I also had a lot of fears, how they're going to treat me, how they're going to appreciate me. And he was like, I was so surprised how much Serbians love me. Even Partizan fans come to me to take a picture, and I didn't have any bad interaction. For us, the same. I remember when we went there after this infamous game in Kaunas with Zvezda, with that banner, support Ukraine, we were also like, how are they gonna accept us? Should we say that we're from Lithuania? Should we say that we're from Latvia?
Yeah.
And I remember that we were having some shots in the bar, watching some ABA League game. I think it was during the Final Four week in Belgrade. And one fan approached us. Oh, where are you from? And we were like, should we say from Latvia or Lithuania? Can we curse on the podcast? Okay, let's say, screw it. We're from Lithuania. And, oh, the Lithuanians. Oh, you're from basketball. Oh my God. And we started talking about basketball. And all the conversations we had were positive, interesting, and nice conversations. So to answer your question, I don't see that way.
Yeah.
I don't see, when you meet person face to face, I mean, it's way easier when you're on different sides of political views on internet. Internet is a crazy platform that divides people.
Yeah, I saw some young boys last night came to you to take a photo, and they recognize you. How do you feel about that, even in Serbia?
It's crazy. It's crazy, really, because I travel once a month, and as I said, if I go to Germany, nobody will recognize me. They're not going to recognize basketball players, the biggest stars of Europe.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting you. After World Cup, I don't know if you heard, but our fans in Serbia, in Belgrade, we welcomed our players in many, in airport there was a lot of people. And in Germany it was, 100 people.
Yeah. Alexa had a bigger reception in Čačak than the whole German team after winning with the World Cup. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I'm sorry to take you back to pictures with young boys recognizing you.
As I mentioned, we do the podcast and we talk a lot of different stuff about both teams, and it's the hardest job to do, to be liked by everyone, because as soon as one team is playing better and the other worse, fans think that you support one side or another, but you're just talking about what you see on the court, what you like and what you don't like. It's normal that if your team is losing, you speak more about things that you don't like, so you can think that they support this side or that side. And I remember walking through Belgrade streets, I was like, how Zvezda fans will approach us? Are they really hate us or something? And as I said, I didn't have any bad interaction. Of course, probably being in this derby game with Partizan as host maybe helped us, because they almost made it to the Final Four. We spoke a lot of good things about Partizan last season, and there is this connection with the Serbian fan community. Although we spoke a lot of good things about Serbian national team as well in the World Cup. So we built that kind of connection with the audience. But still, I didn't expect that Serbian fans following our content that much. So yeah, first few interactions were surprising, but later on I just got used to it. That people just want to take pictures, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Not everywhere you can feel the same. And I'm really thankful for all the fans for approaching us, for sharing their feedback, because that was our initial idea as a basketnews.com, to unite European basketball community to one platform, to speak about basketball, to love, to hate something, but just to be that home of European basketball for Partizan, for Zvezda, for Žalgiris, for Alba, for Bayern, or for Asvel fans. So we see that it's working.
Except Serbia and Greece, did you feel maybe in some other country that kind of energy, that kind of crazy atmosphere on court?
Maybe Turkey, but it was, I think, when Željko was working in Fenerbahce, it was more hostile and more intense. Because later on I traveled to Istanbul, both to Ulker Arena and Sinan Erdem. It's not like in Serbia or Greece. So I would say Serbia and Greece on the top, yeah.
And how do you see Partizan and Zvezda this season?
I like both teams. I have concerns about both teams from the point where I think that maybe Zvezda has too many players and Partizan maybe has less players than they need, so it's an interesting problem to solve. But at the same time, I like the potential. For instance, Zvezda, they fired the coach. They're 1-4 already, but they could have easily be 4-1 because they just lost 4 quarters. They had a huge lead, and for me it shows the huge upside that they have. We see guys like Iago dos Santos stepping up and playing important role, so that will help. Shabazz Napier, he will be much better than that, and you won't need to play through Miloš Teodosic the last moments, the decisive shots. You're just gonna give ball to Shabazz Napier, and he will decide games for you. So I think that wins for sure, and especially with Yanis Veropoulos, wins for sure coming to Zvezda fans camp. With Partizan, I think it's just this Partizan thing. They start slowly, but Željko knows when he needs to prepare his team. We saw that last year as well. The start was rusty. They were slow. You arguably could have had your own concerns. Are they going to be good? and they were perfect. So I'm patient with both teams, and I think that they will be in a way better situation than they are right now.
Do you maybe agree that Partizan needs center and play?
Obviously. I mean, it's me, it's the taxi driver, it's the fan who is taking pictures with me. Why they're not signing center? I mean, Željko is not stupid, Zoran Savic is not stupid, so for sure they're gonna bring center. And I think that they might add another player, and it should be a perimeter player.
Can we maybe comment the last quarter when Zvezda plays? They always lose the last quarter. I don't know why. What happened to them?
I don't know. I think it really starts with Shabazz because he was brought as the most expensive player, and he was brought as one of the best point guards in the EuroLeague and one of the best scorers in the EuroLeague. And bringing that type of guy, you expect him to perform in the fourth quarter, because usually that's what happens in European basketball. You play team basketball, you do whatever you want in the first 3 quarters, but at the end, it's these superstar players who decide the game one-on-one. And Shabazz, he's not in his rhythm yet, but he showed his class in Milan before, in Zenit before, and I remember I had those conversations with Lithuanians who played with him, with Gudaitis and with Giedraitis. He's a great person. He's a great guy. There are no, let's say, chemistry or locker room issues. One of the most, relaxed former NBA players in Europe, probably. And skill-wise, I mean, incredible scorer. So what we see right now is just normal October thing that you sometimes have to go through. So I think that when Shabazz will step up his game, you will see more and more victories coming from Zvezda.
Duško once said that Shabazz is and he will be the player of decision.
Sorry, what was the question? The player of what?
Of decision.
Of decision.
Yeah, and at the end of the game, he is the one that will have ball. And he will probably lose some games, and he will probably won some games.
For instance, we didn't see him on the court against Žalgiris. He didn't play in the last minutes. I think we didn't see him on the court against Monaco because he had some tough stretches and he didn't deliver. Although I think that guys like Kevin Punter, okay, Željko proved that I'm going to be wrong what I'm going to say yesterday. Kevin Punter was not on the court, but guys like Punter, Mike James, Shabazz Napier, they can be 0 from 15, but I still would trust those guys to make the last shot for me, to play the last 2 minutes of the game, because they're that good. They can switch things around. I think that I had the same conversation with Shea Larkin, that these are those type of quality players that they don't care about missing those shots, and they can just turn things around very quickly and get that fire in their shot.
We're all waiting for him to explode.
Yeah, it's early. The season is long.
We know. Yeah. It's always like that here. You said Partizan is slowly in the beginning, and we saw last season. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, they were like 4-9 or something.
Yeah, it was awful at the beginning. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But in the end, it was like Final Four for a little bit.
It was Final Four team.
Yeah.
Completely.
I'm so sorry I didn't see them there.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest injustice that we had in the last few years. At the same time, it was the lesson for Partizan as well. Yeah. Maybe next time Kevin Punter will react way different way. That game would have finished differently, and it was 3-0 in the Final Four appearance.
If you have a chance, maybe, to bring 2 players in Partizan and Zvezda in this moment, can you maybe decide which player will you bring?
But through agents, right?
Yeah, that's what we have now.
I'm not the scout, so I won't be very creative. There are names that were already thrown on the market. I wouldn't say names. I would say profile players. Let's say the next Matthias Lazor type of player, Freddy Gillespie type of player. I believe that there are many guys like that in the G League, or the guys who didn't make it to the NBA roster for the start of the season. So there don't have to be the one particular name. I think that they can find guys like that. For the perimeter, I don't even know, because Alexa is great. I mean, Kevin Punter is great. Even Dozier, he had some better games, some worse games, and in this game, in the first half, he played 1 minute. In the fourth quarter, he started the fourth quarter with 0 points, and he made some, I would say, in Željko's standards, kind of stupid shot, but he made it contested 2-pointer, and then he hit the corner 3, and he was important in that late run. So I mean, he will get better, he will adjust. They have James Nunnally on the perimeter. Yaramas, who was amazing.
Yeah.
X Factor.
Yaramas
I don't know if you
is-
guys expected him to perform like that yesterday.
No, actually, no, because we're waiting for him to explode, you know, but we didn't think it. Actually, I didn't think it would be that big, you know. But he was.
And he was amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Željko always finds guys. So I think that they might go step by step. First, the center that they really need, rim protection. They really need rim protection. And then for guard, they might see, you know, game by game if they really need to add any other guard.
Maybe.
Boring answer, yeah?
Yeah, you didn't give me any names. Okay.
I have one name, I just forgot his name actually. The Portuguese center that was playing for Sacramento Kings.
Oh.
The big, very big, tall guy. I think he was also rumored to be one of the potential targets, but you know how it goes in summer. A lot of rumors and
Yeah,
not
I don't
much
remember.
truth in that.
I can remember.
Yeah.
Maybe it will come to our mind
Yeah.
later. Maybe we can talk now about you.
Okay.
Can you maybe tell us how did you start this job and why did you choose journalism?
We don't have time for that kind of stories. Yeah. When did it start? It started, I would say, from the love for basketball, and the moment I realized that I won't be a basketball player. So what to do then to stay around basketball?
Was it hard?
No, because I was bad at from the beginning. So for me it was easy, and I thought I'm going to be the commentator.
Okay.
Basketball commentator, because we had one great commentator that I really loved. I was playing NBA Live on computer, and I was commenting games that I've played. So I would start with the love. I would start with the media situation in Lithuania, which allows very young person to join as volunteers and to get some practice. So I started very early, like 16 years old or 17 years old. I was writing for the website. Of course, it was, I think, very bad, you know, journalism, but, you know, I was just basically it was translating, you know, what USA media says about the NBA and just putting on the website, and just slowly being patient. In the beginning when I was really young, probably I was, you know, chasing clicks, putting some stupid headlines, but at some point you start realizing that it's not about that, that it might harm teams, players, coaches. And the great lesson that I've got from one of my colleagues was like starting from the headlines and the whole approach. Don't put the headline on the article that would make you uncomfortable if you were on the other side. If I'm the player, how do I read this headline? If it makes me uncomfortable, don't put that. So I kind of kept this approach for the articles. And I noticed that I kind of got trust from players more and more, from coaches, from teams. I started traveling to Kaunas. I was born in Panevėžys. I went to study to Vilnius. I traveled to Kaunas to cover Žalgiris games. I started to flying with the team from our company money, and, you know, this journey just bounced from there.
Did you ever maybe think about becoming a coach?
No coaching. Coach is the
like
worst profession. And I don't know. You asked me about my schedule. Okay, this is busy schedule because we're abroad. We invested money in this trip, so we have to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But with the coaches, I don't know when they relax, when do they have free time, and it's just impossible. It's a huge sacrifice for the family, for the kids. I don't want that. So everything except from coaching, maybe scouting, maybe GM, sports director position, agent, or something. Everything around basketball, but not coaching.
You're young.
Yeah.
And you're one of the best basketball journalists in the world, I can say that. Okay, let me speak.
The world is really big, so...
Okay, Europe. Can we talk about that?
I don't like accolades, but yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. Was it tough to get that status?
It's a tricky question. Because I was not chasing status. I was chasing the right story, not to make people uncomfortable. Players, coaches, and etc. And I was like, you know, I won't bring any interesting headline on this. I was just trying to do my best, simple as that. I try to be best at what I do every day, and then I will deal with the outcome later. My job is to make this podcast with you, with I know Rokas Giedraitis, as best as possible, and then there's this next excitement, like in coaching. You're as good as your last game you've coached. And you might be fired after one game. So you also might be fired after one bad podcast or article if you do something really, really wrong. So You always just have to push yourself to be best at what you do, and then you follow with the outcome and the result. Because I also had very bad days, you know. Then some of the rumors that you put or some information that you put is eventually is wrong, although you got a lot of confirmations. So you just, you know, got fooled by somebody, sometimes on purpose. Sometimes you just say some bad stuff that you regret after, and you understand you were not wrong, but it has some big noise about that. So there were good and bad days. So, but the goal is the same, to be the best today at what I do. And then you just, you know, you cannot control everything what goes around, statuses and stuff like that. I mean, status itself, it won't make me, you know, rich. I would say won't make me happy. You have to create the process that would make you happy. So far I've been enjoying the process.
Did you maybe think about quitting?
There was one point when I was working for the Lithuanian website where I felt that I hit the ceiling of what I like to do. In Lithuania, although I was traveling, it was like, okay, I got Arturas Karnišovas, the vice president of basketball operations of Chicago Bulls, for the third time on the interview. Probably the biggest basketball person in Lithuania. What should I do next? I mean, to talk to him for the fourth time, even for me, it's already boring because it's hard to discover some new angles. And it went the same with the players and with the coaches. And I felt that, you know, there was this need on something new, and I was happy that the basketnews.com project emerged. And the CEO of this project called me, and I remember to this day. And, you know, from the initial moment, from the start of the conversation, I understood that it's for me. It's the next step for me that I wanted to follow. And because we felt that there was this lack of European basketball coverage internationally for English speakers, and I was like, okay, we can try to do something great here. And it's a new challenge, new assignment. So I kind of refreshed by that idea.
So actually you love your job and basketball in general.
Yeah, I would say I love basketball, and then I love my job. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you consider yourself lucky? You know, you work what you love and you're quite good at it.
I think that luck is always involved. Whatever you do, if you took a bad job offer, for instance, because I also had some different job offers, and it might have been, let's say, financially better job offers, but I felt it was not for me. I had offers to go actually outside media to work for some teams, but I thought that the timing was wrong. So there's always luck involved in the decision-making process. Who knows, if I joined basketnews.com and we went bankrupt in 1 year, you know, it would have been a bad decision for me, but, you know, there was some luck also involved because all other components worked. And it's the same for the players, you know. I don't know, let's say, for example, Iago dos Santos, he signs with Zvezda, and he has Duško as his head coach. And Duško has his own way of transitioning to the team. And who knows how long he was about to sit on the bench in the EuroLeague games. And there's this luck for somebody, for him, and luck for Duško Ivanović, you know. He is fired. Svaropoulos comes, first EuroLeague game, he plays big minutes. Can you call it luck? Can you call it coincidence? I think, you know, it's always involved in the process. So, but I also believe that, you know, it has to be like 80-90% of hard work and then some percent of luck.
Yeah, and do you maybe have some favorite stories, some favorite interview that you made during these years? If you had to choose.
It's, you know, you got me on...
Unprepared?
Yeah, because I don't even know. I wouldn't exclude one interview. I like random interviews, like one that comes to my mind, you know, like Mark Cuban. I met him in the Eurobasket. During the game, Lithuania was playing against Slovenia, probably. Cuban was watching Slovenia. And there was the restricted area that was not allowed for non-right holders to go. But I saw Cuban. I was like, okay, I think that I have 1 or 2 seconds to ask him, can I ask you something? So I had this, like, you cannot even call it interview. It was 2-minute conversation because it was busy time for him. It was during the game. And it turned out that his grandmother was from Lithuanian village of 5,000 people where the head coach of Lithuanian national team was born, Kazys Maksvytis. And later on I connected some points and kind of even discovered who his grandmother was. And, you know, it was it was crazy story in Lithuania.
Yeah.
So probably, you know, it's just one of the examples, but I wouldn't say what was my best interview or what was the most interview or the person that I could mention. But these crazy, interesting stories that lead you somewhere, I would say that it's the best part of our job, and adrenaline that you get from good conversations. Because you can get Željko Obradović, Greg Popovich in front of you. But if he's going to be not interested in you in the conversation, and if he's going to be rude, you can get Michael Jordan. It will be a bad interview, you know. But if you have, I don't know, for instance, Kevin Punter 2 years ago, I never met him before. I didn't know what to expect. And when I got to talk to him, I didn't expect that he was such an interesting guy, insightful guy who can you know, make jokes, who can be real, who can share his incredible story of his life. So yeah, it's about those kind of discoveries of stories and of personalities that you meet throughout your journey. And from these examples, I understood that it's not about chasing the big name for the interview. It's chasing for the charisma of the personality, like Alexa Avramovic.
Yeah.
He might be, okay, you can say that, I don't know, Spanulis, Slukas, you can get him on the interview, or Alexa Avramovic. It might be that this interview with Avramovic will be way better, way more interesting, and will get more views than the one with the best of all time in EuroLeague that we had.
Yeah, and when you mentioned EuroLeague, how do you like teams this season?
I like them a lot. I mean, I have like 12 teams that I would see making the playoffs. I have friends on many teams, and if I don't put them in the top 8 conversation, I've always got text messages, and I really love those teams who also are out of the top 8. So what I like about the EuroLeague the most, that it's very unpredictable. Like 12, 14 teams can compete not only for the top 8, but maybe for the final 4. So you cannot find it anywhere else in the world. But even these small teams like Alba, what they do is special and unique. Bayern Munich, for instance, I love what they do with Vlasov, with the guards that they have. They might not make to the top 8, but I will love to watch them on TV. So that's the best part about the EuroLeague. It's hard to find teams that you don't like to watch, or you know, they don't have something special. Even as well now, they have Gianmarco Pozzecco. It will make our work way more interesting right now with him at the head coach position.
Can you maybe tell us what you think who will be in top 8, and after that at final 4? Yeah, you have to answer me.
It's a very bad question, because so many teams can make the top 8. I have to go through the list of the teams. Yeah. Because for sure I will forget somebody. Real Madrid, of course. I don't even enter the list, but of course Real Madrid is making it. And I'm bad at predictions. I saw FS doing well this season. It's not working. I saw Milan doing better than last season. It's even worse. Yeah. So,
it was crazy. I don't know.
I mean, I saw Maccabi in the top 8, but now with this situation, I don't know what to expect.
What do you think about that situation? They will play in Belgrade, and I don't know what to expect.
I cannot imagine how hard it should be for them, for the organization who builds the budget from ticketing and who make a lot of money from ticketing. And for the rest of the season, you play in a gym where you cannot get money from ticketing. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to survive financially. But the reason, I mean, the way that they decided to stay in the EuroLeague means that they want to push it to the edge and to try to stay, you know, not to be affected by it. So that's a huge respect for the organization, but I don't know. I couldn't put myself in Maccabi players' shoes to see all the security all the time you go. Yeah. Even if you feel safe watching these 700 security people around you, you start feeling unsafe because why they are here.
Yeah. They expect something.
I mean, and I don't know how they are dealing with their families, if they have wives or kids, what they do with the security and stuff. Yeah. And now you don't have home games. You go to Belgrade. You're always on the road. So I wouldn't like to be a Maccabi player right now. It's really tough situation. So I feel bad about them.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Do you have questions about other teams for me not to answer top 8 question?
No, we will come back to it.
Alba, no. As well, no. Okay, one of the Serbian teams. One team from Belgrade. I will go sit by cities.
Which one?
One team from Belgrade, one team from Athens, one team from Istanbul. Can we put this way?
No.
Okay, at this point, I think Partizan has a little advantage. Real Madrid, Barcelona, we have 3 teams. Fenerbahce, 4. Olympiacos, 5. Monaco, 6. Oh, it's not that difficult. Okay, 2 more left.
2 more.
I don't see Žalgiris in the top 8.
They will hate you.
No, they're used to my hate comments on them. Virtus, I don't think so. They're gonna keep this level. Okay, let's say FS. I'm still a big believer in them. And come on, Milan has to make the top 8.
And what about Panathinaikos?
They will be 9th, so they're gonna make the play-in.
I'll text you then.
Okay.
To see if you're right.
Okay.
And what about Final Four?
Hey. This is getting a very uncomfortable podcast. It's very tough podcast. But okay, for the Final Four, Real Madrid.
Did you say Barcelona in top 8? No?
Yeah, I've mentioned them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But for the Final Four, Barcelona is great right now, but they're gonna be, let's say, scouted for the second part of the season, and this effect of Jasikevičius is gone. We have freedom with Grimao will be different. We had this in Žalgiris with Jasikevičius and Schiller.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be, not as good as they are right now. So let's say I will include Fenerbahce. I believe in Monaco. And 4th team, I think that Olympiacos will figure it out. So
you believe in them.
So yeah, sorry for Serbian supporters, but
we hope that you will be wrong.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, nothing bad about that.
Do you have time for private life? We know that you travel a lot, you're writing a lot, filming and things like that. Do you have time for you, for your family, for friends?
Not that much. I try to be off at weekends, but the problem is that for some reason a lot of moves happen during the weekend or in summer at midnight. Especially, I hate that part the most. So of course, family, they're taking this sacrifice, and I'm very thankful that the people that are around me, they understand my love, my passion, and that it requires a lot of time. And at the same time, I always say that if you don't like my way, so you could be with somebody else. So, it was your decision. I didn't force you. But of course, when I have free time, I would say I'm a pretty boring person since I spend a lot of time for basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for other hobbies because that would mean that it would hurt my wife and my kid, and I just want to spend all this time, even if it might be boring time, just for my family and friends. Of course, they are involved, but yeah, I wouldn't say that my lifestyle is very interesting and very amazing or something. No, it's just boring part, and maybe it makes sense because you spend so much energy talking, writing, doing a lot of stuff, and then when you get back home, you reach your limit of words, and battery is
you just want to lay down and
just relax.
Yeah, you have one day in Belgrade, right? Do you have something on your mind that you will do?
Hey, I need some tips for Belgrade people for that. For Friday, it shouldn't be hard to find something on Friday night.
No.
Yeah, so we have some short list of the restaurant tips that we got. So we might have a nice dinner, and then you never know. We're gonna deal with the outcome after that.
Okay, just one last question.
Okay.
Your favorite team in EuroLeague?
Wow, my favorite team in EuroLeague.
And you can say Žalgiris. No, that doesn't count.
To be honest, I'm from Panevėžys, and I was a big football fan of the local team. I was ultra at 18 years old. I was traveling with the team, and but when I was a child, I fell in love with basketball when I saw Žalgiris winning the EuroLeague in 1999, and there was this short guy, Tajus Edney, 1 meter 78 centimeters, who for me, 7-year-old kid, watching him, that small guy doing incredible things, I was like, oh my God. And he was wearing Žalgiris jersey. So I fell in love with Žalgiris. But when I started working in Vilnius, studying working in Vilnius, I got to know people from Rytas, the biggest rival. And I made friends there. And when you see those two teams, you see friends playing basketball game, and you're happy for your friends. Yeah. The same happens in the EuroLeague. I have friends there, here and there. I'm happy for some guys in Zvezda. I'm happy for some guys in Partizan when they win. I try to, congratulate them. I don't bother the team that is losing. So I have friends in every other team. So I would say that my favorite team in the EuroLeague is the team that gives the biggest media availability, and the team where I have the most friends, and the team that deserves this success the most. So this is my favorite EuroLeague team. I don't have one team really.
Okay, I will accept that. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. It was so nice talking to you, and I hope to see you in Belgrade soon to talk again.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.